One.
It's time for the KBOI Medical Moment, brought to you by Regence Blue Shield of Idaho, featuring Dr. Mark Hiatt. Dr. Hiatt is the Executive Medical Director for Regence. Dr. Hiatt, good morning.
Good morning, Chris and Paul J.
It's time for seasonal affective disorder. I understand this because I got it, and it drives me crazy.
Yeah, doctor, the clocks have fallen back and the days are becoming shorter and colder. Why do some people, Paul J. included, feel worse in the late fall and winter?
Well, Chris, Paul J. is not alone. A lot of people do, in fact, feel worse in the winter, but they tend to bounce back in the spring, and this is because they may suffer from something called seasonal affective disorder. It's a type of depression that is related to a change in the season.
And there are a lot of things that general malaise, it just changes your personality. It's dark all the time. It's cold all the time. Drives me nuts.
Yeah, a lot of people call it the winter blues during those darker days of winter. These changes include changes in appetite and cravings. Some people gain weight. They feel more irritable. They may be more anxious, have problems sleeping, have muscle aches, difficulty concentrating, just an overall diminished level of energy. And depression may be a very real component to this seasonal affective disorder.
How many people do you figure suffer from this disorder?
It's thought about 5% of Americans may have it.
So that's quite a few. Is there a connection between... I think the connection is between lack of daylight and my mind. Is that true?
I think that's one of the most compelling explanations, that with the shorter days and the lack of natural light, your brain may actually not produce as much of a neurotransmitter called serotonin. Now, serotonin is thought to contribute to our feelings of well-being and happiness, and we may have less of it in the winter, and so we may feel a little bit more depressed.
What is a good treatment?
Arizona.
That's right, moving to a place where there's more light, or just simply getting out more in the winter, getting out into the sunshine. A lot of folks will use these light therapy boxes, so while they're inside, they can get more light into their life. But really, if you feel like just sleeping late, lying in bed with the covers over your head, that's not the best thing to do. The best thing to do is to get out there into the sunshine.
I agree.
Dr. Hiatt, a 3-year-old boy died recently after eating a grilled cheese sandwich. Can you tell us what happened?
Chris, this is a sad story. At a preschool in New York, this 3-year-old boy died because he had an allergic reaction to a grilled cheese sandwich. Apparently, Chris and Paul J., this young boy had an allergy, a severe allergy to dairy products, and he went into anaphylactic shock.
Were they aware, the workers at the preschool, of his allergy?
Paul J., that's the really sad thing about this story, is that the preschool workers did, in fact, know that this boy had a severe dairy allergy. And a further mistake was committed when he went into shock. They actually called the mother instead of calling 911.
Wow. And Doctor, there's a new study about heart stents that has come out. First of all, can you tell us what are heart stents?
Heart stents are those little mesh tubes that cardiologists place in patients who may have stable chest pain caused by their coronary arteries being clogged up. And so doctors will insert these heart stents into these blocked arteries to open them up and to keep them open so that blood can flow through them. And the thinking is that thereby they're able to soothe the pain that these patients feel.
What did the study show?
Amazingly, Paul J., this study actually showed that these stents that are placed quite often in people may actually be useless for their pain.
Wow.
What's going to happen as a result of this study, do you think?
Well, Chris, about 500,000 people in the U.S. and Europe get these devices implanted each year at considerable cost. This really may shake things up. It could be that we'll use these stents less for these particular patients. And that may be a good thing because these stents actually carry considerable risk. About 1 in 50 patients who receive one actually experience a complication that may, in some cases, even be life-threatening.
That sounds like a positive development then.
Certainly, to know that we may not be helping patients by inserting these risky stents.
Well, Dr. Hiatt, we appreciate your time this morning on KBOI.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doc.
It's the KBOI Medical Moment, brought to you by Regence Blue Shield of Idaho each Tuesday, featuring Dr. Mark Hiatt, the Executive Medical Director for Regence.